let's get into Mathieu van der Poel's schedule.
I'm so fired up about this, Michael. Milano-Sanremo, Lombardia, liege-bastogne-liege, the Tour of Flanders, and paris-roubaix, all taking place within like a 2.5 month span. And let's not forget the 6th and unofficial, I think we should just go ahead and make it official monument. Strade Bianche, Mathieu van der Poel and his alpecin-fenix squad are doing them all. We can break this down a little bit, but for my money, I don't see how he loses any of these bike races. This is a guy that wins pretty much half of the bike races he does. His team is getting stronger and stronger. He's getting smarter. Tell me how he loses one of these monuments, and if so, which one it might be.
I don't want to rain on your parade, Ian, but we're used to seeing Mathieu van der Poel win every cyclocross race, and in road racing, there are a lot more variables, I would say, and a bit more talent, you know. We are going to be seeing Mathieu van der Poel. This is one thing I'm really excited about. And honestly, maybe the race I'm most excited about, because van der Poel is going to be there, is Strade Bianche. Because you know who else has a really, really good track record at Strade Bianche? Wout van Aert. This is a battle. You know, we can't say that Mathieu van der Poel is going to win every bike race, because we have riders like Wout van Aert, his old cyclocross rival, who will also be firing on all cylinders. And I am so excited to see the showdown on the final climb of Strade Bianche, because I think that they are both going to be there.
Okay, let's just start with Milano-Sanremo, which until Strade Bianche is officially declared as a monument, I don't know what the actual process for that is, other than us just saying it should be the 6th monument over and over again. Milano-Sanremo is the traditional first monument of the season, will remain the first traditional monument of the revised 2020 season. For sure, van der Poel is winning Milano-Sanremo. I mean, unless things get completely blown apart before they hit the Poggio climb, who is going up the Poggio faster than van der Poel? Who's going down it faster than the Poggio? And who's going to have more left in the tank to sprint on the Via Roma than Mathieu van der Poel? Milano-Sanremo, I'm sorry, Peter Sagan. I'm sorry, Julian Alaphilippe. Philippe Gilbert, you're going to have to keep racing, I guess, until van der Poel retires to win the 5th of your, or add your 5th monument to the 4 you've already won. Mathieu van der Poel is not going to lose Milano-Sanremo.
I completely agree. Surprisingly.
All right.
I think that there are riders who can go up the Poggio faster than van der Poel, but oh my, you just point him down that twisty descent, and then the Via Roma sprint. That reminds me of what he did at Amstel Gold, of course, just a long, straight charge to the line. I don't know who's going to be able to contend with him on that.
The race that intrigues me and excites me is Lombardia. This has actually been moved on the 2020 revised calendar from following the Giro d'Italia to Milano-Sanremo. This is on August 15th, a week after Milano-Sanremo. Normally, I would not put Mathieu van der Poel as one of the top contenders for Lombardia, just because he is somewhat unproven on the longer ascents. Let's keep in mind that Lombardia is a race with over 4,000 meters of climbing. We have the Muro di Sormano, we have the Civiglio, we have the San Fermo di Battaglia right at the finish. It is a race for the mountain men. This is where we saw Roglic, Bernal, Mike Woods, Bauke Mollema going at each other last October. But let's keep in mind also that this race now overlaps with the Dauphiné. So the top riders in the world, the top climbers in the world are going to be at the Dauphiné, which does open the door for van der Poel to potentially win Lombardia if he has the engine, which I wouldn't count it against him, to make it over these longer 10, 12-minute, even 15-minute, 20-minute climbs.
Yeah, I think that van der Poel does have what it takes to win at Lombardia. And one thing that's going to work into his advantage is, you think about the race after the Muro di Sormano, team tactics are pretty much blown up. Riders just do not have a lot of support going into Como and doing the last 50K of this race. Mathieu van der Poel, his alpecin-fenix team, it's being built out. It is a really, really properly good team. but it's not going to be able to contend with the support that a Deceuninck Quick-Step or a squad like that might have in the classics. Lombardia, these team tactics, though, they just don't really come into play as much, and I think that is going to make a big difference for Van der Poel in the finale.
I agree with that, and that does bring us into the third monument that we'll have this season, Liege-Bastogne-Liege, which I think will be the most difficult for Van der Poel to win. Ladonia, the oldest bike race on the professional cycling calendar. This is another race that is built for the climbers. Again, over 4,000 meters of climbing. And I agree that Van der Poel, if teams are smart and they do want to beat him, and they should, I think, be racing entirely against Mathieu van der Poel, they need to be opening this race up early, like 100K, 120K, even 150K out from the finish. If you're Astana, you're sending Lopez up the road, and the reigning champion Jakob Fuglsang is pinned Mathieu van der Poel's wheel. That's how you're going to have to end up beating him, because let's remember that Liege-Bastogne-Liege no longer has an uphill finish, finishes back in Liege 5 kilometers roughly of flat before the finish. So if there's any group at all, and Mathieu van der Poel is in that group, he's going to win Liege. And I think it really is going to come down to team dynamics, whether or not he can take that third monument.
That's really annoying. You keep saying things that I agree with. I don't really have, you spelled it out. They need to rip it apart early. I think that, it brings to mind the 2018 edition when Bob Jungels soloed away from Mike Woods, just going down the descent. It wasn't necessarily that Jungels was that much stronger, but he just had a stronger team behind him throughout the entire day, and he was fresher and able to just forge off solo, while a rider like Mike Woods was kind of flying solo and, took a gamble, tried to stay sheltered in a group of other riders.
Tour of Flanders, October 16th. That will be the 4th monument on the UCI calendar. I remember what Van der Poel did there in his first Tour of Flanders, crashing right at the base of the Ode Quermont, chasing back on the Koppenberg, and finishing, second in the field sprint to Alexander Kristoff, just off the podium in 4th place. One of the craziest, most bizarre, and coolest bike rides in a race I've ever seen. I mean, his father is a former winner at the Tour of Flanders. He is the clear favorite for that race.
Yeah, but these two monuments are where it gets interesting, Ian, because Mathieu van der Poel has a really, really specific riding style. We love watching it. It's just Van der Poel riding on the ragged edge. It's what he does in cyclocross. He is always just a hair's inch away from completely losing traction. He just skims the wooden posts that surround the cyclocross races. And that's what we saw in his charge into the Ode Quermont, which saw him looking like he had broken his arm. I don't know how he got back on his bicycle after that.
The guy is literally made of rubber.
Yeah, this is part of the problem is he's on the ragged edge. Sometimes he oversteps, and he just keeps getting away with it because he's so strong. He was able to just charge back up into the field, unlike anybody else would have been able to do. But later in that race, he almost took himself out again, kind of just zoning out of the front group. He rode up onto a curb. I think his front wheel was on the curb. His rear wheel was in the gutter. And again, a testament to his ability. He got himself out of that predicament, but it was one that he put himself in. And Flanders and Roubaix, these are races where everything is going to work against you if you're putting yourself in these compromising positions. Not only are you going to have a team like Deceuninck Quick-Step, who is organized, methodical, drilled, keeping a stranglehold on the race dynamics, but there's so many opportunities to just wad it up if you get a little cocky, if you zone out, and that's where Van der Poel is going to be his own worst enemy, is on these cobbles, on these dusty, technical Belgian roads. He has to just stay focused and, maybe have a little bit less confidence in his bike handling skills to just play it a little bit safer.
I think that also brings us to the experience factor. Van der Poel, this will be his second real crack at World Tour level road racing. And these races, Flanders, Roubaix, they require time to learn how to win them. I mean, we saw Peter Sagan struggle for a long time before he was finally able to seal the deal at both Flanders and Roubaix, along with Milano-Sanremo, we should say. I mean, you would think that Peter Sagan would have won Milano-Sanremo 3-4 times by now, but he still failed to get that monument. So it is one thing to be the strongest bike racer, one of the best handlers in the world, best finishers. But that experience factor, we did see that at the Yorkshire World Championships, where it came into that race, Van der Poel's to lose. He made the attack to get up to the lead group. He was right there. The race was his to lose. And he did lose it, and not even in a way that we might have expected. He essentially dropped himself out of the front group because he bumped.